Hello, A-Rod. Delighted to be chatting with you. Myself and Steve here.
Hiya, how you doing? Good to meet you.
Hey Steve, hey Terry, great to meet you guys.
Wonderful. So we've just established we'll call you A-Rod.
Yeah,
I
Sure,
think
sounds
that'll
good.
do. That
that
makes it
works.
easier for us anyway. So what's life like today in Long Island then? Has it been nice today? Are you enjoying it there
Life
today?
today, it's starting to feel like spring. We are in the low 50s. I just came back from baseball practice. I'm the coach of my middle school team, so it's
Ah, yeah.
nice. This weekend, actually, Thursday, Friday, I think we're gonna hit mid 70s, maybe hit 80s.
Nice.
So
Hey, that's
that'll be a
pretty
nice
cool.
treat.
That's pretty nice. That's not bad at all. For us, that'd be we'd be really pleased if it was that warm, but we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there.
You're still
So is this
dealing with a little rain.
Yeah, we've got a bit of rain, bit of showers, sun, uh, and gales at the minute as well. We're
Yeah.
expecting some high gales. We've got a high wind alert for tomorrow as well, and we're getting the start of that now because it's picking up
Ouch.
here. But less about that, more about you. So is Long Island your place of birth then? Is it as
It is
well?
not. I grew up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, in the
Right.
inner city. Yep. That's where I grew up. I went to school in Brooklyn. That's like 70s, late 70s, 80s. And yeah, I came out to Long Island after 10 years of teaching in Brooklyn. We packed our bags, went to Florida with the wife and kids, and now we're up here in Long Island.
Cool. So do you have any besides your writing and all that? Do you have any hobbies that you do in your spare time?
I am very active. I love to run. Just did a run yesterday, did about 8 miles. Like hopping on my bicycle, ride, rides to the beach, hour ride, 2 hour rides. Super active.
Well, must be fit.
Okay. Must be fit. Yeah, I was going to say must be fit then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Try.
pass. And do you do
Not bad,
baseball as
not
well
bad for
yourself?
50. Not bad for 50.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So do you play along as well when you go to baseball practice with the kids, if you like?
After practice, we'll have some fun. I'll let them pitch to me. I'll, humble them by blasting balls far away. And I
Fair
still
enough.
could pitch actually. I can still pitch actually, and so I do a lot of my pitching to them so that they can see what fast pitching is like. Get them ahead of the curve.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Rod, you've mentioned there that you're a teacher, a sixth grade bilingual teacher. How long have you been
Yes.
teaching in total? And tell us how the journey began to move into education.
Uh, I would have to say it started off in high school when I was in my junior year. A bunch of kids, honor roll kids and so on, were selected to do volunteer work around the community. And I volunteered at a daycare center, and I was assigned a kid who was a bit troubled. He was not the nicest of kids. He was somebody that would get in trouble a lot at the daycare center, like no one could control him. And I don't know, I just took a liking to him, and I would talk and play with him. I remember the very first day I met him, he actually, was sat right next to me, took out one of his boogers and put it right on my lap.
Oh, nice.
That was my first day with this kid.
Yeah.
But it was just a matter of just, getting to know him. And he was a super active kid that maybe just needed somebody to, you know, vent and let loose a little bit. And he just took a liking to me, and he completely changed around. And the workers at the daycare are like, "What do you do with this kid?" And so that was my seed that was planted. And then I went to college. Um, I studied to be a psychology major, thinking I'll go in that field. But after, I guess right around my senior year, I was thinking maybe I should go into the classroom. And so when I graduated, I went back to Brooklyn, where I'm from, and just sent a bunch of resumes to local schools where I grew up. And in 1994, um, I was asked to come and sub at some local buildings. Um, I taught for about, or I subbed for about half a year, and the administrators loved me, and I got a job right after in September of '95.
Yeah.
So I've been teaching for 27 years now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's some accomplishment.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty good, that, isn't it? Yeah. So pretty much all your life, you must have done some teacher training and then straight into it. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to the main focus really. You've got, well, we actually got you mixed up with, we found two Armandos on Twitter. And we were a little bit confused between us if it was the right one. So are you the one who's written 45 books or not?
No, just I'm an
That's my fault.
80s one hit. I'm an 80s one hit wonder.
One hit wonder. Love it, love it. What do you want to be when you grow up? Is that the right one?
That's correct. That's
Right.
the
Well,
one.
tell us a little about that then. It's a positive message for children and probably adults as well?
I'm sure it's fitting for anyone who is looking to be inspired or is looking for something to do. So it was definitely a book for all ages. But the inspiration for the book was me reading personally. I read all these self-help books and so on. I'm a nonfiction reader, and I'll do some self-help books. And it just dawned on me that there's not one for kids. And while I'm in the classroom, that's pretty much what I do. Besides teaching, math and fractions and history and science, our kids, they're looking for inspiration. So I'm always talking about what is it that you want to be when you grow up, and I believe in you, and what are you doing about it now? Are you setting goals? Are you saying you want to be a baseball player and just never picked up a baseball? Like, there's got to be something that we're working towards. So it just became a thing where I was like, why is this not written down on paper? And right around 2007 is when I said, I need to put this down on paper. And from there to 2009, when it was published, I guess the rest is history from there. Yeah.
Is there a target age range for the book? Is there, what's sort of the lowest age range you aimed at?
I know, I would say it's from like 5 to adulthood. If at the age of 5, you probably want to sit down. Definitely a good read aloud for a parent to sit down and talk with their kids. It's never too early to talk about what you want to do when you grow up, and just little things that you can do, like visualizing, like maybe decorate your room with the things you love to do, and keeping a journal, and how to set goals for yourself. The earlier the start, the better. But as definitely the younger you are, it's more of a read aloud situation. Great for a parent to sit down and have chats after reading a chapter and the chapters are 1-page chapters really, but great talking points. And in the same, I would recommend for teachers to do. Teachers, in the beginning of the year, just maybe read it and work on setting goals for their students throughout the year, and then just talk about the kids' future and how to set that up for themselves outside of the classroom, where where again the parent will help.
Okay.
So is this book going to be a series of books, or is it just a standalone? Do you planning to do more? Or
it's a standalone. I self-published, and originally when I self-published, I knew the price was too high. So it was a slow start as far as sales. But about a year ago, I took on Twitter, developed a nice following, and I would say sales are starting to pick up. where there are teachers in the Twitter community that are starting to make, purchases, and they'll show their book to me that, hey, it's in my classroom. And again, you're just parents wanting to buy and have it in their home.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a future follow-up to the book? I don't know. I have ideas, but nothing that I like push forward with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our friend on Twitter, you mentioned Twitter, Michelle Cobbett, she's chosen Anything's Possible for her March indie reviews on her Cobbett's literary rides website. Have you connected with Michelle on Twitter?
Michelle and I, like many people on Twitter, we direct message each other, so we'll chat that way. But it's a nice support group where we retweet our our tweets so that we get exposure. Me personally, now that I've connected with a lot of indie authors, what I like to do is I'll choose a book to actually purchase and read, and I make sure I leave a review for them. Um, so it all depends, it's all based on support. So Michelle has been, I want to say we have a relationship for about almost a year now, where she does a lot of shout outs with me included, which I appreciate so much, Michelle. And again, based on support, I decide whose books I purchase. So I've read quite a few indie books already from Twitter authors, and she was one of the last books I've read. I'm like super busy right now, so once summer hits, I'll try to honor some more of our indie authors. So she wrote a nice book about vampires, and very entertaining. And I left her a review, and ever since then, there's been more connection.
Yeah.
And
Gray Stings.
Yeah. And then again, she just sent me a DM about you guys, and would I be interested in doing a blog? And the answer is, of course. So definitely we'll be connected with Michelle in the long run.
Excellent.
And help, just to help out other indie authors as well, and anything else she's trying to promote.
I think there's a great community of writers. We found with speaking to so many writers, all of them are very generous with their time. Some would think from outsiders that it was competitive, but it seems the opposite. It seems though all writers we've spoken to always reach out and try to go that extra yard to help other indie writers, especially.
Yes, like I said, it's a great support system. I have not encountered anything that seems selfish. Everyone's willing to give, and again, that's how I choose the indie authors that I want to read books for. I find myself, now that I'm connected with a bunch of the indie authors on Twitter, I find myself buying less books from what I would normally read in my genre, to wanting to support this community, because again, we're just all very supportive and wanting to help one another. So I think that's very good.
Excellent.
Yeah. So is that your preferred reading? Would that normally be, though, a fiction book? But now it's maybe not. Yeah.
My preferred reading is nonfiction. I like reading biographies. Again, along the terms of what I do for a living and anything's possible, I like to think of myself as a very positive person. And I like to hear stories of real people that struggled as kids, and now you read about them and what they've done to accomplish what they've done in life. I like feeding myself stories that way. So I'm more of a nonfiction biographical reader than I am a fiction reader. But the indie, again, support community has made me reach out to read more of the fiction genre.
Just to go back to your book, can you tell us who did the wonderful illustrations? Was this Christina Sarajevo?
Yes, I love telling the story to my students, and anytime I get to share my book with new people. When in 2009, when we were putting the book together to get published, the publisher at the time, they're no longer in the company, which is why it's available on Amazon. But Legwork Team Publishing, they had a few illustrators for me to choose from. And so I looked through some books and I like Christina's work. And we did was we would just send emails to one another. I've never met Christina. She's in Maine.
Yeah.
And basically I would type in uh, the chapters or send documents of what my chapters would look like in, in words. And she would put it into a vision of what that chapter should look like. And we would go back and forth. Oh, I love this illustration. You're on point with this one. This one, can you make her look a little Asian? I want this one to look African American. Little things like that, tweaking back and forth via email.
Okay.
But I've never met her, Christina, personally. No.
Yeah, that's getting more common now. I think, post-COVID, more people are doing things remotely. Well, Zoom, like we are now. That seems more the case. And we've spoken to a few actors who've said the whole profession's changed since COVID. Now they're no longer attending regular sort of auditions. They're Zooming themselves, doing a reading, to audition for a part.
Interesting.
You mentioned that you independently published. You found that easiest way to do it. Is it? Well, we know it's very difficult to go through a traditional publisher. Did you experience that yourself? Did you try that first?
I did. I started in 2007, and I sent a ton of query letters, and got back a lot of rejection letters, which I appreciate. I definitely keep them. I still have them stored.
I've
For
wallpapered a room in mine.
memories.
The whole room is wallpapered.
And right around the 2009 mark, our local news channel, they sat down with Legwork Team Publishing, which was a local Long Island self-publishing company. And it was a Sunday morning. I'm like, all right, there's a local publishing company that does self-publishing. Let me try that route. And that's, again, the rest is history. But I did try for 2 years. Tons of fun rejections.
Yeah.
How have you found your experience with Amazon? I think it's very easy. You upload your book, they publish it. Simple as that. They do a couple of spell checks, make sure there's nothing sort of obscene or blasphemous in the material.
Right.
And a lot of people enjoy the ease of editing. For instance, if a year down the line, if someone spots a typo, within 24 hours, you can update the book and have it republished with that update, rather than 6 months, a year, whatever, however long it would take with a traditional publisher.
Yes, and again, Amazon has taken on the book, and it's a great experience where luckily there's not much editing. There's no editing to do on the book, but one of the best perks that now that it's available on Amazon, it was definitely overpriced as a
Is that because of the illustration?
book.
Is that because of the illustration, do you think?
No, I think it's the publishing company itself. It was a very small company, and I guess for them to make profit, it was overpriced. It was at $14.99
it's a
for a
bit
children's
steep.
book.
That's steep, isn't it? Yeah.
And so again, the initial buzz for the book was nice. I had a lot of support in the local community, but it was way too overpriced for a school to say, oh, let me buy a bunch of books or here and there, Now that is at Amazon, it's available for $9.99, which is a lot better. And again, sales are definitely, it went stagnant for a while, and they're starting to pick up again. which is nice.
Go on.
You mentioned it's a good book for parents to read with the children. Have you looked at producing an audio book version?
I have not thought of that, no, but I could definitely. Why not? Right?
It's well, a very simple process. Very well. The company ACX, they're linked with Amazon. It's a simple matter of uploading the book to them, and you got a couple of choices. You can pay for a producer, roughly, I don't know, $500 per hour of production time, or you can go for a royalty share with a producer who will do their work free and share the royalties with you. That's a very simple process.
No, okay. I never considered, so definitely, why not?
Yeah.
ACV, you said?
ACX.
ACX.
Yeah. They're linked with
And
Audible as well.
okay.
But I think it's there's a link within their website. You just sort of click on your Amazon link and upload the book to them, and then it's a matter of picking the producer and sitting back and letting it be produced.
That's good to know. I'll follow up on that.
Good.
And you,
Awesome.
how much do you have to pay him, Terry?
It's a choice. You can pay for the top producer like Graham Mack we spoke to. He'll charge roughly, let's say between £100 and £500 per hour of production time. Like your average novel is 75,000 words. That would take 6 hours production time in the studio.
Right.
But in fact, that's for the finished product, 6 hours. It may take 20 hours of actual, recording work before they can edit that down to the finished final 6 hours. So that they charge a lot for that. But then you get the full royalty. You get the full 40% royalty.
Get the full right. Okay.
Exactly. But if you go for a free production, it's a 20% each share for the Audible rights.
I think I would most likely go the first route. It's a fairly quick read, so I don't think I'll need that many production hours.
Okay. I think as well, I with mine, I try to do it myself, but the recording equipment has to be sort of fairly high standard. You have to have like a mini studio. Some people use like a box over the head. Sounds stupid, but a microphone with a large box over the head. So they got that, the soundproofness. They read it themselves, upload the tape, and then you could in theory produce it yourself.
Wow. Okay.
And then obviously you get the full royalty, no payments.
That sounds like a plan. I'll definitely follow up on that. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, good.
Do you get much feedback from your students or the parents on any of your writing, or have you?
Yes. Well, again, kids, they'll talk to me and say, "Oh my gosh, we love your book," and parents, same thing. They're like, "Wow, you're." We just had a book fest last week.
Excellent.
Where the kids, me and a bunch of other authors trying to sell books and promote our books, and it's again, I've always had a nice positive feedback. The reviews on Amazon are positive, 5-star ratings. I could use a few more reviews.
Yeah, everyone.
we all could, right?
Yeah.
But yes, the feedback is extremely positive.
You mentioned Twitter earlier. You've got 2 Twitter accounts. One for the book you can at itsimpossible_Rod, and a more personal one, Armando Rodriguez at Prove 'em Wrong Rod. What social media platform works best for you? Is it purely Twitter, or using TikTok and Instagram and whatever else is the latest?
Right now, I am only doing Twitter. I can't see myself doing other social media. Twitter is very time consuming.
Yeah.
Even the backup account, which was meant to be fun, it's just kind of sitting there. Just because on my first Twitter account, my main one, you can too. There's just so many people that reach out to me on a daily basis, and like just like in real life, I want to make sure I reach out to everyone that's in contact with me, and so just want to make sure I have the time for that.
Okay.
So I'm very happy that both accounts are super busy. but I cannot see myself doing Instagram and balancing 3 different accounts like that. I actually have a YouTube channel, which is also meant for fun,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not on that enough to try to promote. I have like 92 subscribers and
Yeah.
just little fun videos of myself or the kids and stuff like that.
I was going to ask you about that, so I'm glad you've answered
Oh,
that.
right. I was
Yeah,
just going to ask
yeah.
that. Go on, sorry.
What,
So
what,
tell us a bit more about this YouTube channel. What's it to promote? What's on there? Is it more of your books, or is it like a podcast thing you do, or something like that?
No, the YouTube is it's kind of like a get to know me and my family videos. We're just uh boys surfing, me doing magic tricks, me playing around with my students. There's a
Cool.
video of me acting like one of the kids is getting suspended, and one of the students is playing the principal. Me doing a mechanical bull. Again, little fun things. Nothing serious. It's definitely not there to promote my book. Maybe I should.
yeah.
But
It can become full time though, can't it? With social media, you mentioned then you can spend a lot of time just on Twitter. We've spoken to writers who've got TikTok accounts, Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts. That's something else I can't even think of. But you can become full time occupied. Some circumstances though, you need some kind of like a secretary or a personal assistant to help with social media accounts. It can overtake.
I don't know if I could afford one. So yeah, that would be why. It's just too time consuming
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
and still got to balance your real life
Mm.
with Twitter. Sometimes I have to put the phone down.
Yeah. Finally, for me, really, what advice would you give to someone who's writing a book for the first time? How would they go about it, or what's the best way, in your opinion?
My advice is do it. Put it down on paper. There's time and time again, how many people do we run into that say, "Oh, I have an idea for a book." Put it down on paper. Discipline yourself to take some hours on the weekends and put it down on paper. It's just said way too often. There's too many ideas in people's heads that need to be down on paper. That would be my biggest advice.
So do you,
spot on.
when you do notes or make notes, do you write them on your computer or on your phone, or do you have a pad with you, or do you put and jotting paper all over the house or whatever? What's your method of doing it when you get an idea for a book for part of your book?
I am very, I guess, old-fashioned. I still have a black and white composition notebook where I jot down my ideas.
Yeah, we've heard some people. We've heard some people saying they have a phone in the bedroom and they wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. They'll talk it into their phone, the recording device. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people still use Post-it notes and stick them on the wall in the bedroom or in the study or whatever, and then the next day they'll get them all together and collate it all into the book, and then write the whole book, which might, on the surface of it, sound rubbish, but as long as you know what's in it, as you've said, get it down on paper.
As long as it's down, whatever method you're using, as long as it's down on paper.
Yeah, true.
Thing. Yep.
That's excellent advice. Yeah,
that's good advice. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. Hey, Rod, it looks like time's caught up with us, but it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Barry and Steve, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your time. It's been interesting.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Rod, let's keep in touch as we have been. And
sounds good.
Let's chat again when the audio book comes out.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
All right.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
But for now, cheers, Rod. Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Be
Take
good.
Care and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, you got it. Yeah. Be good. Bye.
Bye-bye.